Alright folks, so I'm going to do a quick video about your superhero element project or superhero or super villain project or super heroine element project, whichever you choose. I'm going to go through the directions page with you, so here we go. So first, your project is due May 13th. You will submit this doc to me, as I'll show you below about what you'll put in there. But it also has all your information, and this will be an assignment grade. You have been hired by the Elements of the Universe, a comic book publisher, to create a new superhero. Your superhero or villain, or superheroine, if you would prefer, will have the appearance, characteristics, and powers based on an assigned element in the periodic table. You'll submit each step as we go along. Alright, so you're going to pick any element that is on the periodic table of elements. You will take a quiz in Canvas that will tell me which element you picked. Your quiz grade is based on whether or not you submit it. Whatever you submit as your element, as long as it's an element, will get you a full credit for that. So that's number one. Then you will conduct research to find information on that element. Now here is a big old neon flashing light for you. If you pick an element whose atomic number is higher than 90 and or it is a man-made element, you will have a super hard time finding uses or the 10 facts for it. Because they're man-made, they don't always have uses or lots of information about them, because people just wanted to make them because they could. So I would steer clear from picking a man-made element. So pick from 1 to 89 and leave 90 and above out. You'll complete this worksheet I'm about to go over with you, and this is all just one day's assignment, this whole worksheet and your research, okay? So when you're done your research, you'll submit this document, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay, so here is the screenshot of your document that you need to submit as an assignment grade. You're going to answer these questions and fill it out. Is your superhero a villain or a superhero? So mine is a superhero. I'm going to show you an example of one. So I'm just going to fill it out. What is your character's name? My character's name is Crypto Light. Now I'm using Krypton as my element, and that means you may not use Krypton now that I have used it. You cannot use this example, okay? What element gives this character power? Krypton. And then you will fill out the rest of this document as you go through. Pro tip, on the Canvas assignment, in that assignment form, down if you scroll to the bottom, there are like 4 or 5, 6 links of different sites you can use for facts. They are all reputable. I have used them all myself to make this one. Some of them look like periodic tables, and if you will click on the periodic table or on the chemical name or element, it will take you to the link and give you information. I had to read all of those websites to get enough information to fill out this paper. You might have to read more of them. What is not a good idea is just to Google it and use Wikipedia. Use reputable websites that have good information. Okay, number one. So I'm not going to fill out this whole paper. You get the idea of filling it out. This is some more questions on the continuing down the document. What power does your character have? So my character can shoot laser beams from her eyes, and it's part of the reason why is because it comes to this next part right here. Krypton is used. One of the uses for it is if it's combined with fluorine. Combined with fluorine, it makes laser beams. So that's a strength. And it's when it's combined. Combined with fluorine. That's a no. It can make the laser beam. So I'm just going to write LB because I'm out of room. What does the character look like? My character is going to be green because that's what color Krypton is. While doing my research, I found out about wavelengths and why it's green. And so that's one of the reasons why it's green. I would explain that all here in my notes. My element was found in 1898. It was found in 1898, and so that's important because during my PowerPoint or my Google slide part, you're going to need to know how old your element is, and you might want to describe your element, your character, and how old they are based on when they were found and discovered. So mine's like 124 years old now. Who discovered it? Mine was Sir William Ramsay. Sir William for short. You get the idea. You're just going to fill this out. Where does your hero live when in nature? So Krypton is found naturally. In nature. It's found in the atmosphere and the air in very low quantities. So that's what I would put there. You might also want to use that when you're getting to create some more of your slides about maybe that could be part of its superpower. Maybe my superhero could switch into be invisible and, like evaporate into the air to move around quickly. So you're making up their power, but their power should be linked to the uses and or things that go with your element, okay? So keep going through this sheet. Okay, so you're going to submit that. That facts is all part of your worksheet, okay? You're submitting that as one assignment. Then the next part of that assignment is you're going to take those facts from that worksheet and you're going to make a Google slide deck to include all this information. And I'm going to include an example of the Google slide deck in this Canvas assignment so you can go through it and see it. So I'll come back to that. So that's going to be part 2. In your Google Slides, you need to include these things on your Google Slides. You have to have a picture of your superhero or villain. I'll get to that more of that in a minute. Your creative name. Mine's Kryptolite because it uses light for the laser beams, and Krypton is the element. You should have 10 facts about your element, which if you filled in that paper or the worksheet, you should be able to get your 10 facts. And then you have to have an electric dot diagram of your element. And you remember to do electric dot diagrams, you find out how many electrons are in the valence electron ring, which means the last ring it has. And you just put that many around the chemical symbol. I will show you an example. Pro tip, there can only be up to 8 dots, 1 to 8 dots around it. No more, no less. Well, you can't have 0. 1 to 8. All right, and then a drawing of your superhero or villain or a rendering, which I'll show you a website in a second. You may not Google this and get a picture from the internet. That is not an option. You can create your own on this website that I'm going to show you. You can draw one and take a picture of it and insert the picture. And or I've even included a template in the assignment. If you wanted to print that template and use that or just freehand draw it, that's up to you. I am telling you, I have had some of the coolest projects ever turned in with this. I want you guys to be creative. I had a student write a whole novel on their superhero. I had someone draw a freehand piece of picture that I tried to find so I could insert it in here, but I can't find it currently. It was amazing. So you can have as much creativity as you want, and if you're like me and not an artist and the thought of drawing something, sends you like to under your desk, then use the avatar creator that I'm going to show you in a minute. Well, actually, it's in its very own video, so you can watch the avatar creator in the very own video. So those are your options for that part of your slide. That should probably be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 slides, maybe 6 if you have to break up your facts to fit them all on there. And then you get to part 2 of your PowerPoint. So the second part of your PowerPoint is one of two options. You can continue just putting bulleted facts and information in your PowerPoint, answering these questions I'm about to show you, telling the origin story or the backstory to your element. How did this superhero villain get created? And answer some more of these questions in your backstory. And it can just be a regular old PowerPoint or Google Slides, whatever. Or you can be super creative and write a narrative backstory, like a story, a fiction story that you make up, 100% make up. And that's what I was telling you. One of my previous students did that, and actually for his assignment, it was only like 3 paragraphs or a page long, whatever, 5 paragraphs, however many, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but his backstory answered all the questions. But we talked about it, and he was so excited about it, he turned it into a literal novel and had it published. So you can get super creative with this. All right, so here's what I'm looking for about your backstory. This section should include your physical description. What does your element look like? What does it feel like? Color, solid, liquid, gas. The more details, the better. Include, where does your superhero element live? Where can it be found in nature? Does it have a hideout? Is its hideout part of what makes it found in nature? Like, is it only found in a certain part of the country or in the world? What are their superpowers? They can be made up, but it's best if it relates to your element some way. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? All these things should be incorporated in your story. So, all the facts are in the Canvas assignment. You're going to upload that document as an assignment grade. And then part 2 is a PowerPoint. Well, you take that information from that document assignment and create a Google slide deck. And it has to have at least 6 or 7 slides based on how many slides it takes you to get your 10 facts in there. And then you either continue your slide deck and just do bulleted information telling the backstory, or you write a narrative backstory. Narrative is probably not the right word. A fiction backstory. And you can type that on a Google Doc and submit that separately, or you can type it in I have such a hard time, or you can type that on the Google slide deck and just add however many slides it takes you to type out the paragraph of the story. If you do that, please don't make the font small. I would rather you have 50 slides in your slide deck at a font that I can read than 3 slides at like 8 font. Okay? Make it like 14 or 15 font so it's easy for me to read. I have old lady eyes, and there's a lot of you, and that's a lot of reading. Okay. The next video will be about the PowerPoint, so you can see how that works. And then happy element hunting. Email me if you have questions.